Welcome to Pulse Room News TV, bringing you the latest updates on the major legal case involving one of hip-hop's biggest icons, Sean Diddy Combs. Today, we're diving deep into the latest developments from the courtroom and the impact these will have on the trial that's set to unfold. It's been over 3 weeks since Sean Diddy Combs, one of the wealthiest and most influential figures in music and business, was arrested on serious federal charges: racketeering, conspiracy, and more. Since then, his legal team has been working tirelessly to get him out on bail, but so far, it hasn't been successful. Let's talk about why that is, what happened in court this week, and what's coming next in this high-stakes case. On Thursday, Combs and his substantial defense team were back in court, this time in front of a new judge, Arun Subramanian, who will be presiding over the trial moving forward. It was an intense day of legal arguments, and we got some significant updates about where this case is headed. Most notably, the trial is now scheduled for May 2025. It seems far off, but considering the mountain of evidence that needs to be processed, it makes sense. Now, unfortunately, there are no cameras or recording equipment allowed inside New York federal courthouses, so we don't have any footage or audio of Combs speaking directly to the judge. However, based on reports from inside the courtroom, he was calm and composed throughout the proceedings, despite facing some daunting challenges ahead. One of the biggest questions people have been asking is, what's happening with bail? Why wasn't it discussed this week? The answer is that bail is currently being handled in a separate legal process. Combs' legal team has taken his bail request to a higher court, the Second Circuit Court of Appeals, after being denied twice by lower courts. Earlier this week, Combs' attorney, Alexandra Shapiro, filed a motion with the Court of Appeals, making a strong case for why Diddy should be released on bail while awaiting trial. In her motion, she emphasized that this case does involve extreme and unusual circumstances, but none that justify keeping Combs behind bars. She highlighted that Sean Combs has been a public figure his entire life, constantly in the media spotlight, and with a known address. The argument is simple. He's not a flight risk. Despite this, 2 previous judges denied his bail request, and so far, Combs has been locked up at the Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn since September 16th. One of the key reasons prosecutors argue for keeping him there is his influence and reach. They claim that Combs has a history of tampering with witnesses and intimidating others connected to his legal issues. Combs' defense team is pushing back hard against these claims. They argue that, yes, he had conversations with individuals related to the civil lawsuits he was facing, but they maintain that he wasn't aware of the federal investigation at the time. Seeing Sean Combs, aka Diddy, in person after 3 weeks in jail was definitely notable. We've all seen pictures of him on social media or in the news, but today, seeing him walk into the courtroom was different. He appeared confident, maybe not what you'd expect from someone who's been locked up. He wasn't shackled, but he was in a khaki prison jumpsuit. The real moment was when he saw his family. That's when his face lit up, and there was a clear emotional connection. His family played a big role in the courtroom dynamics today. His mother, Janice Combs, arrived before 1 p.m., and when his children entered, the entire courtroom seemed to go silent. It was a powerful moment. They were all there: Justin, Chance, the twins Jesse and Delilah, Quincy and Christian. As soon as they saw Diddy, they smiled and waved. And, on his part, Diddy blew kisses to them as he left the courtroom. It was clear that family was a central part of his day. The focus today wasn't on bail, as many expected, but on the large amount of data seized from Diddy's properties. Prosecutors talked about the 96 electronic devices taken from his homes in Miami, LA, and even from the airport when he was traveling with his daughters. They seized phones, computers, anything that could be used as evidence. The prosecution mentioned that while some of the devices are older and harder to access, they're working on getting through all the data. For example, they've already extracted data from 29 of 36 devices in Miami and 24 of 51 in LA. They seized 9 devices at the airport, and most of those have already been extracted. In total, they're looking at 8 terabytes of data. They expect the remaining data to be processed in the next few weeks, so they're working towards that May 2025 trial date. There's a lot of speculation right now that we could see more charges coming, which would obviously affect the timeline. We don't have specifics yet, but there's talk that it could involve minors. If that happens, it could really complicate things. Minors in these kinds of cases present different legal challenges, and the defense would have to take a completely different approach if new charges are filed. If minors are involved, that changes the entire scope of the case. Prosecutors are still investigating, so we could see more information come out soon. Diddy's lawyers have filed an appeal to the Second Circuit Court of Appeals after 2 previous judges denied bail. They've proposed a $50 million bail package, including 24/7 monitoring, no internet or phone access, and even the surrender of passports. The argument is that Diddy has been cooperative since January, even before charges were filed, and they believe he's not a flight risk. This is really a complex case. Government is currently working through this mountain of information, and we're talking about 8 terabytes of data. This is a crucial aspect of the case because Diddy's defense team is now pushing to exclude some of that evidence, arguing it was either improperly obtained or irrelevant to the core charges. The judge has yet to rule on this, but it could play a huge role in how the trial unfolds. On a more personal note, Diddy's family has been an unwavering source of support for him throughout this ordeal. His mother, Janice Combs, and his children have been there for each court appearance, and Thursday was no different. They arrived together, their presence a powerful reminder of the personal stakes involved in this case. This case has attracted widespread attention due to Diddy's status as a major figure in music and business. Many have expressed shock, while others have pointed to prior controversies surrounding the artist. The trial is expected to be one of the most high-profile legal battles in recent memory, with the potential to bring forth more explosive revelations as it progresses. The civil lawsuits that preceded his criminal charges also shed light on the depth of the accusations, with some plaintiffs alleging exploitation that dates back many years. While Combs' legal team has disputed the charges and emphasized his cooperation with authorities, the government's case continues to build as more evidence is uncovered. So where do we go from here? Right now, all eyes are on the Second Circuit Court of Appeals as they decide whether or not to grant Sean Combs bail. His legal team has proposed a substantial package, including $50 million in bail, house arrest, 24/7 monitoring, and no internet or phone access. They are pulling out all the stops to try to get him out before the trial. Whether or not that happens remains to be seen. But what we do know is that this case is far from over, and as more evidence is reviewed and potentially more charges are added, the stakes will only get higher. Thank you for joining us on Pulse Room News TV. We'll be keeping you updated on every new development in this landmark case. Thanks for watching.